Several countries have announced boycotts of the Eurovision Song Contest after organizers cleared Israel's participation. Israel came second last year with that song from Yuval Raphael. The result prompted some broadcasters to question the voting system. And today, Ireland, Spain, Slovenia, and the Netherlands officially withdrew from the competition, with some countries yet to comment on this. Israel's inclusion in Eurovision has been controversial since the war in Gaza 2 years ago. The country's president welcomed the organizers' decision, saying their participation demonstrates solidarity and cooperation through music. Last month's federal budget in Canada revealed that money has been set aside to explore whether this country will participate in future competitions. So how has political discord taken center stage over what is usually a joyful celebration of harmony through music? We now reached journalist and Eurovision expert Karen Fricker. Thank you so much, Karen, for your time on this. Israel being cleared to participate and other countries now, in response to that, pulling out. What does that mean to the future of this competition? Help us, for those who don't know, help us understand just how important are countries like Spain. I think it's pretty important.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really big day in the history of the contest because the whole story around the contest is that it's not political. It's a benign competition of national broadcasters. But because nation is involved, it's always been political in its way. And like you said in your intro, Israel being involved since the war in Gaza has become very contentious because some broadcasters think they cannot be involved in a competition in which anything officially Israeli is involved. So this was not unexpected, that if in fact Israel was cleared to participate, a number of broadcasters had said, you do that, we do this. And Spain is particularly significant because it's one of the big five broadcasters, which means it puts in the lion's share of money to make the competition go every year, and therefore gets the right to participate in the final without competing in the semifinals. And Ireland is also a literally and symbolically important country because it's won, along with Sweden, the most times ever, 7 times. So these are important Eurovision countries that have drawn a line.
And are these going to be the only Eurovision countries that might, I did mention off the top, they might pull out, because I mentioned off the top that not all have, I think, commented yet.
Yeah, I mean, the countries that that we're looking at are in particular Belgium and Iceland, who've said they will comment in the coming days. And it's also significant that Sweden, which is the big Eurovision country, it's so popular there. They've won 7 times, like Ireland. They have yet to take a position. There are also some countries that have said at this point, we think this issue is settled. And so a lot is going to play out in the coming days about whether there's going to be a kind of a pile on to a boycott or whether this is going to remain a pullout of these few yet important countries.
You talked about this, the fact that it is inherently political because we have countries voting, as countries for the winner here. And last month, Eurovision organizers tightened the rules, trying to discourage governments and third parties from organizing voting campaigns. What does that say about the influence of external politics, do you think, or at least their recognition of it? And how did this place smaller nations? Are they, I assume, disadvantaged?
Well, I mean, the whole thing about political interference in voting was tied to this year's contest when official Israeli outlets heavily promoted voting for the Israeli entry, and the amount of voting around the world for Israel shot up. And so this led to a lot of other broadcasters, as well as kind of fan and public outcry, saying this can't be right, that there's government lobbying. So these new rules came in that tried to curtail that. And that is perceived by some to be the bit of hand slap to Israel, but then they have still now been allowed to go forward. So I do think that these new rules are a good idea, but they became embroiled in the much larger issue of Israel staying or going.
So in 2022, Russia was banned from Eurovision, and that was over the invasion of Ukraine. So it would not be without precedent that a country might not be allowed to participate here. But as we say, Israel is allowed to participate, and it's generated this, biggest controversy in, as you said, Eurovision's history. How does that, or does it, affect Canada making its attempt into Eurovision? Do you think that it changes anything?
Well, I mean, when it was announced recently that Canada might compete, one wondered if having a friendly country like Canada enter Eurovision at this point, because all of this stuff was very much brewing in the background, whether this would be a really great announcement to make next year at the 70th anniversary of the contest. Look, we've got this new competitor. And I mean, I wonder if this is going to give the Canadian government, which is promoting this, and indeed the CBC, pause to know that this is so fraught. Why would we want to get involved in this? Becomes a question.
Karen Fricker, asking the good questions, journalist and Eurovision expert. Thank you very much.
Thanks for talking to me about it.